Hello, this is Tim Loughton. Now, I've got a thorny subject that I just want to raise with constituents, and that's mitochondrial donation. Most people will say, what on earth is that? But it's one of those ethical issues which come to Parliament every so often. And yesterday, the 1st of September, in the House of Commons, we had a debate on whether the government should go ahead to change regulations which would allow mitochondrial donation in human cells. Now, this is very technical. I'm not a scientist, and I'm usually very conservative when it comes to these ethical issues, but I spoke in favour of the government with caution pursuing this when I spoke in the debate last night. And what I really like now is for constituents who are interested in this area, and it's an important issue, to look at some of the facts and information available and to give me their thoughts and views back. And I'm using this podcast to encourage people to do that. Very quickly, mitochondrial disease affects up to 6,500 babies born every year. There is no cure. It's a genetic disease handed down from mothers to babies and causes serious problems with hearts, with livers, with organs, with brains, blindness, and in most cases means that children will die in a matter of weeks or months and rarely make it to adulthood. This is a hugely debilitating disease. I have met the families of victims of this disease who have had 1, 2, 3 or more children who all die in their early years. We need to do something about it. Now, Newcastle University has, through pioneering science, developed what's effectively a way of preventing this happening. There's no cure, as I say, but what they are proposing, and there have been extensive tests which have been overseen by the Human Fertilisation and Embryology Authority, who are the regulators here, whereby effectively they would use the mitochondrial DNA from another mother to inject it into the cells of women who are affected by this. Crucially, and this is an important point, it doesn't affect the nuclear DNA, which is the essential cells of life, which influence your characteristics, your personality, your appearance. That could be construed as designer babies and Frankensteins and all the things that have been raised about that, and I had serious problems with that. But that's not what this is about. This is about the mitochondrial cells, which have been described as the power packs, the batteries, which provide the energy for cells to work in all parts of the body, and that is where the problem is, and that is what the science which has now been developed will enable us to change, which will hopefully save the lives and these debilitating diseases from many thousands of kids born each year, and also affect the way that it's then can be prevented from being passed on to another generation. This is important science. It's pioneering British science, and it's actually prevention not just from one generation but for future generations as well. Is it ethical? Should we do this? I take the view that if the good outweighs the bad, then it's something we should go ahead with, and that's why cautiously I've given my approval to these proposals, and when it comes back to Parliament later in the summer to vote formally on them, as it stands, I'm inclined to support them. It needs to be heavily controlled. It will be licensed by the HFEA very tightly based on scientific evidence and the efficacy of what is working, and if there are problems with it, licenses will be withdrawn. If there is any inkling that this is leading to some sort of designer babies and being misused, I wouldn't support it, and the law would need to be changed again. So I'd like your views. It's an important subject, it's a difficult subject, it's a very technical subject, but I know many of my constituents will want to know more about it and will have views on it. So linked to this podcast, I put the Hansard record of the short debate that we had last night and some other fact sheets so people can find out more. So please do let me know your views. That this is not a party political issue. It'll be subject to free votes by MPs, quite rightfully. I've told you where I stand at the moment. There are other safeguards I think may need to be brought in, and that's why I want to hear from many people, is the sorts of things you think should be happening if we are able to allow this to go forward. So give me your views. All the details on my website. Thank you for listening, and as usual,